Hello everyone. A lot of people might not fully understand what kind of story Black Myth Wukong is telling. In this video, I'll break down the animation from Chapter 1. Hopefully this helps you understand the game's story or maybe even a bit of Chinese culture. A young monk carrying all a bundle. This tells us he's a wandering monk with no fixed home. Look, even the alms bowl he uses for begging is cracked. That means he's extremely poor. See the markings on the toad? They look golden. Maybe the young monk thought he had found a golden toad, a legendary creature that spits out gold. Tip: in ancient tales, golden toads were believed to bring wealth. He even used his alms bowl to catch the toad, showing how desperate he was for money. The reason? We'll get to that later. Then, we see corpses, proof that this place isn't safe. But in the dim night, the young monk doesn't notice the bodies or the scattered coins. All he cares about is catching the toad. At this point, have you picked up on what the animation is subtly telling us? A bright glow appears in the background. It's Guanyin Temple. The black bear Guai turns his head, subtly directing the young monk. It's like he's telling him, take the money, go to the Grand Zen courtyard. In ancient times, monks were exempt from taxes and labor duties, but to officially become a monk, they had to pay a hefty fee to the government. Only then would they receive a certification, called a duty. Without a duty, no temple would accept them. If they did, they'd be punished too. Black Bear Guai didn't harm the young monk. Instead, he gave him money, pointing him toward a path. Why? Because he had already seen what kind of person the monk was. The way he fixated on the toad showed his true nature. Maybe Black Bear Guai wanted to form a connection. After all, if he could get involved with Buddhism, he might get closer to immortality. In the journey to the West world, immortality is the ultimate goal for all beings. Tip: in this world, gods and Buddhas are more like job titles, not necessarily immortal beings. But where did Black Bear Guai get that money? Most likely from the destroyed carriage nearby. And the kind of power it takes to wreck a carriage like that. What do you think? Do you agree that it was Black Bear Guai who did it? After joining Guanyin Temple, the young monk looks around, seemingly lost. But actually, he's shocked. He's blinded by the extravagant robes of the other monks. Researching historical monk attire, something feels off. Ordinary monks, like the young one, wore simple robes. Kasayas, the ornate robes, were only worn during ceremonies by monks of status, kind of like uniforms today. Originally, kasayas were made from scraps of cloth, sewn together piece by piece. The plain colors and rough fabric were meant to remind monks to detach from material desires. But in Guanyin Temple, status is flaunted through lavish clothing. Bit by bit, the young monk's mindset is being distorted. During morning training, he nearly stumbles, a sign that his journey hasn't been smooth. His life has been on a flat path, a metaphor for how he's never risen in status. Throughout this animation, status is symbolized by moving higher. This setback makes him start to think, am I going to stay on this flat path forever? If he wants to rise, he must wear a kasaya. Blending in, gaining recognition, only then can he move up. So why did he struggle so hard to join the temple in the first place? In the end, he lowers his head, letting the darkness consume him. Now, wearing a kasaya, Jinchi steps forward, rising higher and higher. As the other monks meditate with closed eyes, he alone keeps his open, pushing forward, surpassing them all. With ambition and effort, he climbs step by step until he finally stands at the very front, becoming the new abbot of Guanyin Temple. Behind him, Black Bear Guai appears, a subtle reminder of the help he once received. But now, Jinchi's eyes glow red, a sign that his obsession with kasayas has consumed him. He's about to do something terrible. He's worn this robe for too long, and now he can't take it off. Swinging his staff, he asserts his power, collecting even more kasayas. But where do these robes come from? Fast forward 200 years, Tang monk and his disciples arrive at Guanyin Temple. According to the original Journey to the West, by now, Jin Shi is 270 years old and has collected 700 or 800 luxurious kasayas. From the way he dresses, it looks like he's collected so many that he's reached a Zen-like state. By now, Elder Jinshi has the aura of a true master. In the portraits, it's recorded that he taught the dull-witted Guangxi how to read and follow temple rules, advised the ruthless Guangmao to show restraint. These are the actions of a great monk. But then he sees Tang monk's golden kasaya. Desire reignites. The more he looks, the more he wants it. A wicked thought takes root. Kill them. Take the robe. His shadow reveals his beast-like nature. When the Destined One defeats Jin Shi in the game and obtains the fireproof mantle, the Keeper says, "Such is his end, a tragedy prologued by a single glance. He was doomed by one extra glance." The temple burns, because in the original tale, Jin Shi tried to burn Tang monk alive to steal the golden kasaya. But Sun Wukong figured it out first. He used the fireproof mantle to protect Tang monk, then hid in the temple's backyard and fanned the flames even higher. In the end, Guanyin Temple burned to the ground. In the shadows, a giant head looms. Even in death, Jin Shi never let go of his greed. After the temple's destruction, Black Bear Guai was taken in by Guanyin, becoming her guardian beast. Before speaking, Guanyin let out a laugh that seems to say, "People love to believe that those who possess gold must not desire gold themselves. What do you think?"
Master, why does Elder Jinshi still cling to that one kasaya?
Bereft of that kasaya, how shall they show the world their ties are cut and their lust is quelled?